Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 back with another episode. Steve and Will here, just trying to run a professional podcast here, but I don't know what's going on with Steve today. We'll see. I'll see if I can reel him in. But before we try to do that, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to win some free stuff, become a member because we give away helmets, jerseys, gift cards, all types of things. But all of that stuff out of the way into the business. Steve, what the heck are we talking about, man?
We don't have an agenda today, Will. These are my favorite types of shows. We just sit back. We got a couple talking points, but we're not just going to focus in on like one position or one player or one coach. We're just going to start with some news, some rumors, what's going on with the Detroit Lions, which isn't much. I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot going on. It's June 12th. Season doesn't start until July 31st. We don't have any training camp. There's no OTAs, but there's still some stuff swirling around with the Detroit Lions. Well, what do you got on the docket? I know you got a little checklist over there.
I do have a little checklist, and the first thing on my checklist is this. I'm hearing a rumor that none other than Levi Onwuzurike is going to be a captain this year. Have you heard anything about that? Have you heard that rumor, or is that
captain of what? What's he captain?
You're not gonna do my boy like that. Maybe I started the rumor. Maybe I did, but yeah, hey, I mean, captain, like put a C on his chest, man. That dude, he's gonna be pivotal this year. But fine. All right, let's
see
talk
for what can be replaced. Like,
for real, you can do my dog like that. He's gonna be key this year. I'm talking about defensive tackle, defensive end. He's gonna be all over the place. You watch. So watch him. He's gonna lock the Super Bowl victory.
He's a jack of many trades, but a master of none. Like, I mean,
I can go with that. I can go with that. Levi. Will loves you at Detroit Den 313. When I run into you at one of these Detroit Lions games or Detroit Lions events, hopefully it's all love. If you see Steve, just go ahead and just bull rush Steve. Just make a point out of it. But go ahead. You got
I was just gonna say, when I see him like 2 or 3 years from now, just know that the answer is yes. I do want fries with that.
I can't even. I'm not even gonna touch it. All right. Real rumors. Now let's just get right to that one that's hot on the presses. JMO, man. There's a rumor that maybe we solidify JMO sooner than later. How you feel about it, and you think it's legit, or what's going on?
Yeah, wouldn't be Detroit Den 313 without mentioning Jameson Williams weekly. Here's my only issue, Will. I think we got to get Aiden Hutchinson's deal done first, is what I would prefer. I mean, they came into the same draft class. Nothing against JMO, but I think it's just kind of, is it a little disrespectful to do Jameson Williams' contract before Aiden Hutchinson's? I personally think it is. And if this is your first time watching Detroit Den 303, don't start your shit with me. All right. We've defended Jameson Williams for years. Yeah. I could hold up my shield and there's just going to be arrows coming right through it, hitting me a little bit, just defending Jameson Williams. But that was just the first thing I thought was, I'd love to have Jameson Williams on this team, but I think we got to get that Hutch deal done first. I think that one's going to be more pricey. So I don't know. If in regards to just Jameson Williams, yeah, I think it would be a beneficial move to get him done now, because he was my number one breakout player for this year. He breaks out this year for the stat line I gave of almost 1,500 yards and double-digit touchdowns. That price tag's going to go up. So I'm all for getting it done right now, today, before training camp starts. I think it would be a smarter move. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this deal done.
I don't feel like it would be disrespect, because I guarantee that Aiden Hutchinson knows how everybody in the Detroit Lions organization feels about him. And I think that he definitely understands that it is a priority to get his deal done. Now, the reason why I would do JMO's as soon as possible is because he's about to go crazy. And maybe the only one that knows how good JMO is Brad Holmes, right? Because, I mean, out of the league GMs, because I think that the league is going to start to understand after this season how good JMO actually really is, if they don't already know. So why not go ahead and pay him before he solidifies what he really is? Because that price, like we've been talking about, is only going to keep going up. So the sooner you get it done, that maybe you can cap this thing down here before it goes out of the stratosphere, because I really think that he's going to do something special this year. So yeah, please get it done as soon as possible. It would make me feel just all warm and fuzzy inside, and just it would bring me a lot of peace, because I'm worrying every single one-handed catch he makes during training camp, every time he blows by all of these DBs and makes these crazy plays, he's gonna say, that's another mill. That's another mill right there. So please, Brad Holmes, please get it done.
That'd be nice if you got paid for every $1 million for every one-handed catch. Well, I'd be in that backyard right now, just snagging one-handies, just snagging them left and right until I'm a billionaire. I don't know. I just wouldn't stop. But yeah, do you think
you guys heard it? Steve would be in the backyard just snagging handies. But go ahead.
Hey, giving handies, taking handies, handies nonetheless. All right, like they don't call me the handyman for no reason. All right,
what's the matter with you?
Do you think J-Mo could be a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL this year?
100%, 100%. I do, man. I know it's been a hot take with some people. It feels like people are either 100% in on him being amazing, or they're like 100% out on him and think that he's a knucklehead and he's just okay. I'm one of the ones that think he's amazing. I think he's amazing. I think he has special abilities. I think here's for the people that came for me in the comments when I mentioned J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown's name in the same breath, which apparently is a sin for some. And it's no disrespect to St. Brown, because I think St. Brown is an absolute dog. He's a dog. He's a beast. I'm so thankful that he's with the Detroit Lions. But Steve, if I was gonna have a surgery, right? This is an analogy that I thought about. If I was gonna have a surgery and I was comparing doctors, and one of the doctor could do 5 different things to save my life, and then the other doctor could only do 4 different things to save my life, I'm gonna go with the doctor that can do that extra thing. When I look at J-Mo and St. Brown, I think that J-Mo can do all of the things that St. Brown can do. I know some people are gonna say, man, the tough catches, the contested catches. I think that J-Mo can make those catches. I know that he had an issue as a rookie where, and by rookie, I mean his second season, right? That was really truly kind of his rookie year. But his rookie season, he had some drops and through camp as well. But those days are behind him. You've seen it through camp. This dude's bringing down crazy catches. People are writing about it. They got pictures of it. And there's some videos. He can make tough catches, but St. Brown cannot make the home run plays that J-Mo can make. So if I'm going to get that surgery, I want the guy that can do all of the things, not the guy that can do some of the things really well. All right. So that's just for me when I think about it. I want just trying to run a business here.
Yeah, I'm just dropping dimes. literally just dropping dimes. Don't worry about me.
But yeah, man, that's just how I'm looking at it, man. I love St. Brown, man, but I think that J-Mo offers a little bit something that St. Brown can't. And for that reason, I think that he is somebody that we need to keep on the Detroit Lions, and we need to sign him sooner than later.
William, I think that's one of the worst analogies I've ever heard. Like, come on.
You're welcome.
A doctor. First of all, let me start with, if I need surgery to have 5 things done to keep me alive, it's time to just take this old boy out to a field, show me the sunset, and put some cheap ammunition in me. Okay. If I need 5 things done to me, like let's just get it wrapped up. Right. We had a good run. It's time to ride off into the sunset like a cowboy would, because I'm taking the doctor that I trust the most. If it's 3rd and 1, I trust Amon-Ra St. Brown with my life. I need him to just make 1 catch. We've seen him do it. I have not seen Jameson Williams yet make a catch to absolutely seal a game. And I've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown do it time after time after time, big catch. What is a big play in the NFL? It's constituted as a play of over 20 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Jameson Williams, big plays according to the NFL. I don't have the information in front of me, but I'd be willing to say that St. Brown is probably right there neck and neck with them if I had to guess. Now, if I'm at my own 10-yard line and Jameson Williams gets a football, it's showtime. It could be something real special. I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown's busting off a 90-yarder. And I'm not trying to say St. B's slow, but Jameson Williams is a home run difference maker. But Will, to say that, he can only do a couple, he can't do anything that J-Mo can't do. Like, he's just faster. That's really all it is when it comes to playing wide receiver. Mm-hmm. He can do everything that Jameson Williams can do, plus some.
I completely disagree. I don't think that he's short area as quick as Jameson Williams. I don't think that he's going to take the handoffs that Jameson Williams can take to the house. If you think about that NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers, what JMO did, he kind of put the boys on his back and said, let's go for 2 tutties that game. I think Jameson Williams, like I said, man, is a guy who can do all of the things. The only thing that he was lacking was not the ability to be able to make those tough catches. What he was lacking was the trust of Jared Goff to go to him in those moments, which is something that I'm hearing that trust has been unbelievable throughout OTAs thus far. No, it's early, but they said Jared Goff was going to JMO in tough moments in sticky coverage over and over and over again throughout OTAs. It's something that I'm excited to watch and unfold. I've seen it at Alabama, him make tough catches. I don't think that he'll have an issue doing it. Now, what I've also seen is Jared Goff be looking for St. Brown to get open on short routes in certain tough moments and end up being turnovers because either he didn't throw the football and ends up fumbling it. We know what I'm talking about there. Or he tries to jam it in there, it gets tipped, and it ends up getting intercepted. No knock against St. Brown, because the two that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, St. Brown was getting double covered. He was getting bracketed. So having an opportunity to be able to make those plays and having the trust of your QB is another portion of that. So having the opportunity to be able to make those tough plays, I think he will get that this year. And it'll be beneficial for both of them, because if you get to a point there where you can't bracket, you can only bracket so many guys. You can't bracket St. Brown. St. Brown's going to be a problem. If you don't bracket JMO, he's going to be a problem. Wait a minute. Are you going to bracket Laporta? He's going to be a problem. So there's going to be weapons all over the place. Jared Goff's going to have to find the one who's got the one-on-one matchup.
I guess we're forgetting about St. Brown's rookie year, where he had a couple rushing touchdowns and, some big plays on the ground. Against Seattle, he had a 26-yard long rushing touchdown. He just doesn't have to do it anymore, Will. Why? He's got someone else who can do that. That's fine. Let's get some eyes on Jameson Williams. Forget about me. St. Brown's just the most dependable wide receiver in the NFL. I still have some questions about Jameson Williams' character. Like, is he going to go a whole season without a distraction, something off the field, no matter how minor it is? Haven't heard anything negative about St. Brown off the field for as long as he's been in the NFL. If he's missed a game, it's because he's basically dying. I've watched this dude play with hand, foot, and mouth, broken ribs, a torn oblique. Like, he's just an absolute word. Well, I don't understand all the disrespect. But what else we got on the docket today? We got some other stuff to talk about.
Man, so I'll be honest. There's only one of these that I really think is legitimate. The next, and I'm going to go with the two crazy ones for the next two. Yeah, and they're crazy. I have to admit they're crazy, but they've been put out on multiple spaces, multiple professional spaces. So, and people, I've put them in the comments. So the first one I'll go to, because I think it'll be a quick conversation, is us trading potentially Hendon Hooker and maybe extra draft capital to go get Shedeur Sanders, who we could have just really drafted if we wanted him. Like, how do you feel about this? Do you think it's a thing? There it is.
That's a real question. You were joking?
No, I'm not joking. That's a real thing.
Shedeur Sanders, like, I just want to make sure I got the name right. The guy who hasn't played in the NFL yet, supposed to be a first-round pick, comes with a lot of baggage, got a bad personality. His dad's kind of involved with what's going on in his NFL career and comes with even more of a distraction. That Shedeur Sanders?
Correct.
I would rather never watch football ever again than the Detroit Lions trade for Shedeur Sanders. I don't want anything to do with him. Will I remember watching this past draft, and there was two players in the first round that were falling to the Detroit Lions at pick 29, and I was getting nervous because there was two players I did not want. One of them was Will Johnson. Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I guess, but you.
One of them was Will Johnson from the University of Michigan. Didn't want an injury history. Didn't want anything to do with him. The second one was Shedeur Sanders. I said, please, God. And I remember watching the draft with my buddy, and I said, we're going to have a talk if Shedeur Sanders is there at 29. Like, are the Lions going to do something absolutely crazy? And I was almost like hyperventilating. Will, I was so fucking nervous that we were going to do something so stupid. Like, I was like, oh my God, did the Lions view him as like a Lamar Jackson? Like, is this just a thing where he's fallen like Lamar or Aaron Rodgers and he's just going to land right in the Lions' lap? Because Watching his college tape, I didn't really love him. I don't care what his last name was. I don't care that his dad's Deion Sanders. I just don't think he was that impressive as a college athlete. I mean, I think he spent a lot of time running for his life, and people were talking about his O-line. Well, yeah, your O-line is going to look bad if you don't play football on time, if you're not getting the ball out at the right time, and if you got Travis Hunter, who's a great athlete. But I wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. So if I didn't want to draft him, I sure as shit ain't trading for him. Well, absolutely not. Couldn't say no enough.
I will say my take isn't as hot.
I would rather name my firstborn son Broderick Martin than draft Shedeur Sanders, okay?
Jeez. Yeah, my take isn't as hot. I didn't particularly want to draft him at pick 29. That's just wasn't a thing for me. But as he slid to 3 and 4, I was interested in rounds 3 and 4, potentially maybe entertaining it. But keeping to the business at hand today, I absolutely am not interested in trading Hendon Hooker or really anything to go get him and bring him in. I'd rather see what Hendon Hooker has in-house. We haven't even got an opportunity to see him really get a chance to play on the field. So I think that he's got some potential. I know Shedeur would be a lot younger, but I don't know. I want to see Hendon. He's been in the program. He's got an opportunity to develop in it. I want to see him get his chance when the time comes. So I'm good where we're at. I'm not interested. And to the realistic part of it, I don't even think that it's realistic. I don't think that that's something that Brad's looking at or Dan. I don't think.
Where did this rumor come from?
It's been talked about on a few different podcasts, and then it was like I forget, man. Like it was a couple of articles. I didn't load in the article ahead of time, but it's a couple of articles if you Google search it.
I'm not going to waste my time with a perfectly good Google search. Will, what else? Well, what else we got? What else we got that's juicy in the world?
So this comes from a comment, and it's been bouncing around X as well. No articles on this, but people have asked us questions in our comments with the stuff going on with Shemar Stewart, right? The Cincinnati Bengals not being able to sign him, them kind of being at a stalemate, one would say, as far as getting him to sign his contract. There's a few things that he's not okay with, and now he has left. And he's not even at camp anymore. He's not even at site anymore. He's done some interviews and voiced his concerns and opinions about the situation at hand. There's a potential that maybe it's so volatile that there might be an ability to trade for him, is what people are asking. Do you think that the Detroit Lions would be interested in this, a thing that they would actually do?
Shemar Turner was very high on our list in the draft, Will. Very, very high. I don't know what the Bengals are doing. They didn't have a defense last year. They drafted some defense, and now they're letting guys go. I don't know. Keep this going until like week 6, because I plan on going to Cincinnati this year and watching that belt just come out of the straps and take it to some ass. I've heard that it's mostly some clause stuff in his contract, something, and I don't know exactly what those are. I know you can have clauses for like, hey, you have to maintain like a certain weight or like stuff like that. It could be crazy, but like the actual contract and like the money is primarily set. It's already kind of decided by the CBA and all that. So I believe it's just whatever the Bengals are trying to throw in there that's extra, like rules, I guess is like the right word to say. Like, I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know what they're asking him to do that he doesn't want to do. Would I trade for him? I guess it would depend on what type of rules Brad Holmes and what kind of clauses he wants for him in his contract. So I don't know. But if we're just looking at a player, yeah, well, I'm interested. I was interested in drafting him. I'm damn sure interested if I can trade for him and give up like a 4th rounder or something and get a 1st round talent. I'm all for that. But I really have no idea what these clauses are. Do you know anything?
I don't know what the clauses are, but I did read in the article that clauses are a big part of it. Excuse me. And the economics are pretty much locked in for a 1st round pick. And when you draft it, you know, I mean, it pretty much is. It says, what you're going to get. So I wonder what the clauses are myself, but I did read today that he can opt out of his contract and re-enter the draft next year if he so chooses as well. That's an option for him. So just stay in shape and I don't know, go play in the UFL. what it'll do, because one of the most dangerous things for a football player is to not play at all.
Yeah, taking a year off or going to play in the UFL where they're not going to pay you as much and you have just as good of a chance of getting hurt. So it's a risky decision for Shemar either way. Like, are you going to sit out and not play football for a year? Or do you want to go play professional football for much, 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 much less money and put yourself at risk by getting hurt, tearing something. We don't want to see any of that. So I don't know what I would do if I were him, but I don't know. Those clauses must be very, very near and dear to his heart for him to be passing on millions of dollars and, coming into the NFL and playing for a pretty good team in the Bengals.
Yeah, I do think about things like, hey, man, if you tear your knee up or you rupture your Achilles or something, you're out for a season anyway. So maybe he could take it as a season and just, develop his body and get in even better shape for the following year, I guess, for the following draft. I don't know. But the only way that I think that the Cincinnati Bengals trade him is if it just comes down to they're not going to get him signed. I think that they would trade him for something before they just let him re-enter the draft next year and void his contract, So, but that's the only way. But I still can't imagine a Cincinnati Bengals saying, hey, I'm going to take a 4th round pick for our 1st round draft pick that we now don't even have. I think they're going to want something major. I think you don't even get into the conversation probably until you start talking about 2nd round picks and probably a piece. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened, man. He's an unproven player who had some statistical issues, some production issues coming out of college anyway. So maybe some teams can lowball him and get them to do something crazy. I don't think that it's truly going to be a thing for the Detroit Lions, though. I really don't truly think that he's going to get traded. I think that they'll eventually Cincinnati will break and they'll pull the clauses out or give him what he wants because they got a super volatile situation going on out there. They just lost Jermaine Pratt, right? Yeah, right. So then on top of that, Trey Hendrickson is going through what he's going through. And then now you got this going on. They need to get their situation figured out in a hurry, man. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to get gouged and have to score 1,000 points to be competitive in football games.
Yeah, I'm with you. Love Shamar Stewart or Shamar Turner. I think he's a hell of an athlete. Just don't know what those clauses look like. I don't know if Brad Holmes would want the same things that whoever the GM for the Bengals is wanting. But again, it must be something like they must be asking him to like change his religion or something. I don't know. Like it must be something very important to him, but it's worth talking about, worth mentioning because he's a young kid who's a freak athlete. And I know a lot of people, he didn't get a lot of sacks in college. Well, if you watch some of his tape, you can understand that Texas A&M had a loaded defensive line, and he was a guy on that line who was probably the most athletic, but maybe not always got home. So what else we got, Will?
Yeah, between Turner and Nick Scorton alongside of him. And those nuts. But yeah, next up, and this one I think and I hope is legit. We talked about Zadarius Smith in the BET Awards and what he said when he actually got interviewed. Well, somebody else asked him a question just in passing, and it happened to be people recording. They said, hey, Zadarius.
Recording.
Right. Hey, Zadarius, when are you going to sign that contract with the Detroit Lions? And he said, and I quote, soon. I'll be signing it soon. So my question to you, Steve, is do you think that was a legit statement that he made? And if it wasn't a legit statement, how soon are we talking?
If it hasn't happened yet, then it hasn't been soon enough. So let's just put that out there. If it hasn't happened already, what are we waiting on? I saw the clip. It looked like he was in like maybe leaving his hotel room or something when someone called him and asked him. And yeah, they had a camera right in his face. He smiled and just said soon. So I think that there's got to be something out there because he would have blew that question off if there wasn't a contract offer or if there wasn't something on the table. So I don't know if he's got to be waiting on something, I would assume. Well, I don't know. So if I'm assuming right that there's a contract offer to him, he can't say soon because the ball would be in his court, right? So I don't know what the holdup would be. I saw someone on one of our videos a couple of days ago say, man, you guys are very high on Zadarius Smith. Like, well, he's the best pass rusher that's available. Like, all right, we're not getting Max Crosby. We're not getting Trey Hendrickson. We're not getting Myles Garrett. We have a real shot at getting Zadarius Smith. He's available. He's only going to cost us dollars, not draft picks. He's played here before. He'd go into a lesser role with Aiden Hutchinson coming back. I think he would absolutely shine in that second role. And not to mention, he could be a guy that takes some snaps off Aiden Hutchinson to keep him healthy. He could take some snaps off Marcus Davenport to keep him healthy. He would be a nice little Swiss Army knife that we could put at either defensive end and give some guys a little bit of break, a little bit of breather, so we don't have Hutch out there playing 100% of the defensive snaps. Like, I don't know how you're not excited by talking Zadarius Smith, William. Am I nuts?
Steve, normally I want to tell you that you are nuts, but no, definitely not nuts, man. I would be excited if we signed him. I'm still sitting in the exact same space. I hope that there was some truth to what he was saying. I do agree with you when you say there's been a contract offer put out there, but I don't really have questions on why it's taking so long. I think that he's enjoying himself, man. And I think the Detroit Lions that are allowing him to enjoy himself because he's a veteran. He understands and knows the defense and has a relationship with Coach Shep. So if we're not changing too much defensively, I think that it's not a big deal. And he's played in a lot of different schemes. He understands the NFL. This isn't his first rodeo. He's been around the league for a long time. He will be just fine. All right, so let him. He's not somebody that I'm pressed about having at camp. He's definitely not somebody that I'm pressed about having at OTAs. He's obviously going to be on a snap management situation anyway. So he's not going to be one of those guys that's just getting his head banged into the wall like the young 22, 23, 24, 25-year-olds that are just because even they're talking about guys like Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch and, Terry and Arnold. Look, Talik Williams coming in. They already got him on a snap count and kind of managing how they're dealing with him because, a lot of these rookies have played football all the way through to the national championship, and then they're getting their bodies ready for the combine, and then they're coming in to come to some rookie mini camps and then OTAs. Like it takes a toll on your body, man. And the Lions are a players ran organization, meaning that a lot of the people at the top of this thing played in the NFL, so they understand the grind of being in it. I think it's smart on the Detroit Lions to manage these guys the way that they do. No different than when we signed Za'Darius Smith and he missed his bye week. They decided to give him a week off so his body could rest and he could go home and deal with the tragedy that he had going on at his house. So I don't know, Steve. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I do believe him when he says that he'll probably end up signing soon. I don't know if it'll be during camp or, later on in camp, man. And he's just, trying to stay in shape and spend some time with his new girlfriend, man, who it seems like he's pretty excited about because they're popping up everywhere, like date nights and concerts because she's a rapper and, award shows and all types of stuff, man. So I'm happy for Za'Darius, man, from the personal life situation and his excitement and want to come back to Detroit. So I just hope we get it done, man.
My only concern is that if another team has an edge rusher that gets hurt today, tomorrow, or something, and they're in need of a defensive end or a pass rusher, they come in and they offer Za'Darius Smith a little bit more money, maybe another year on his contract, and they swoop him out right from underneath our feet. Will, I have no problem with him sitting back and waiting. That's literally my only concern, and the only way I think we could really lose out on him if there's a contract in place is a scenario like that. Someone's out mountain biking and tears their knee and they're a pass rusher and they're out for the year and team X says, hey, I got to get someone. Za'Darius Smith's out there. Here's what I think the Lions offer probably is, they got guys that evaluate the market and what's going on. I need to offer him a little bit more with maybe one more year guaranteed. Let's go swoop him up from Detroit. And now we're just kind of stuck with, hoping that Marcus Davenport stays healthy. I'd just like a nice little contingency plan of, hey, let's just go sign Za'Darius. Now, if something happens with Marcus, we have another guy, or we can give Marcus some time off. Like, that's really my only concern.
Yeah, I'm with it. Makes sense.
Anything else for tonight?
Outside of Broderick Martin, I'm hearing rumors that he's going to start. So outside of that, that's
thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. Stick around, hit that like button. If Will mentions Broderick Martin one more time, there will not be another show. So we'll see you guys later. We'll see what happens.
Peace.